Hi, I'm Tawanda Blake with Interrupted Blogs, and I'm here with Karla Davis-Luster, curator and creator of Opportunity. Karla just recently released a book, The Woman Tales. The book is available for purchase online where books are sold.
I'm researching you, girl.
What did she come up with?
All good stuff, I promise. So, Chicago native Karla Davis-Luster, a multifaceted woman who's owner of her own fashion line, think tank, including the author of book The Woman Tales. The Woman Tales. Wow. That is a phenomenal, I read the forewords and the first few chapters in the book, and I'm like, oh Lord, what is this? What we're doing now? Why?
You stirred up some stuff.
Lord have mercy. So before we get into that, can you give our viewers a snapshot of what it's like to walk in your shoes for a day, and what all do you have going on?
Oh my goodness, walk in my shoes for a day. My day normally starts anywhere from 6 to 6:30. I'm not sure if you know this, I have a UPS store. I may start out there, making sure that everything is okay. I typically will spend the morning there. From there, I'll leave and go over to Karla's Closet. And I'm, just going through website things, looking at, what's come in, what orders, I need to fulfill, just doing a whole big think tank just around that whole scenario there with the fashion industry or the retail and the consignment portion that I have. Once I'm done with that, depending on, with adding on this book, I'm doing interviews now. So I'm doing a lot of interviews throughout the day. So I'm plugging those in. Long story short, my day probably does not end until probably about 8 or 9 o'clock. And depending on what time I come in, I may even cook.
Oh, that's right. May. That is the strong word right there. You learned the art of pivoting during the pandemic, which we learned. How did the slowdown deepen your perspective about the very thing you wrote about, Black love?
How did that deepen my perspective about Black love? I gotta say, if we're speaking on the pandemic, it was pretty interesting. Once again, I mentioned that I do have a UPS store. So people will come in and they're shipping and everything. And and I'm also a notary. God, go figure, another hat, right? And a lot of people were coming in with divorce papers. I was like, wow, this is just an influx of just people coming in, I'm getting divorced here, getting divorced there. I'm hearing stories, and I have a couple of lawyers that periodically frequent my establishment, and they were the amount of divorces that they're overseeing right now is just crazy. People are at home with each other and they are just, I guess, going crazy. You go to work every day, you and your spouse, you're going for 8 or 9 hours and then you come back together. But if you've got to be at home, working from home, and everything is done from home because we're in this pandemic, then you really are spending a whole lot of time with each other. And in some cases, you either learn if you're in love or if you're in or you're in something else. With that being said, I think that I think during the pandemic, it's been challenged.
Wow, that is crazy. Seeing how it unfolds and one person may not know the intentions of the other, that's everyday life though. So
absolutely.
Now, how did you get into writing?
Well, it started back when I was with corporate, years ago. I wrote the training manual for several companies that I work for. And I was challenged with, doing that task. And I found that I liked it. So from there, I always said, what, if I can do this for a company and write a training manual, I'd actually like to try my hand at writing a book. And so it came about, maybe the idea of doing it probably about 6-7 years ago. Pen to paper with doing this novel was more or less a year or a year and a half ago when I started.
That's a short time frame to write something of this magnitude. That's number one. I don't write it. So,
yeah. It's but when you've like got a lot of thoughts and you've got a lot of stuff in your head, and you've got the material behind you and a lot of information, I think that it comes easy, because you're like writing, and it's almost like you can't get everything out. You're writing really fast, and so it's something that I was excited to write about. So
right. Okay,
they made it easy.
The most important part of the book is the title, because that, along with the cover art, sells. So tell me about the title, The Woman Tells, and how did you come up with the concept, and what did she tell? What is she telling in the story?
You must purchase it. Okay, so The Woman Tells. It was the whole idea about the woman is basically kind of narrating the story. She's like just telling her side of the story. Then she tells, if I were, the way it's written is, if I were the wife, I would think, I would think like this. If I were the mistress, I would think like this. If I were, a male mistress, paramour, which is French, I would think like this. So it's the woman telling all sides of each character. She's telling the character. She's explaining the character. So that's it. The Woman Tells.
I love it. Was it difficult? And you did say, you had a lot of material just because people were coming in, like going into divorce. Was it difficult developing the story ultimately?
No, I mean, because, when you think about it, we have, you have friends, you have family that you watch, you have your own things that you go through. And then if you just sat down and picked the topic, and if it was something that, you are kind of involved in yourself, or if it's just something that you're exposed to, you would actually have a lot of material. And so with the story it's not based on just my life. Do I have a few pieces in there? Yes, but probably the least amount. I have like family members that, I've watched friends, I've had friends to confide in me. I don't give anybody's name in the book or anything like that, but just my experiences and just watching different things and interviewing people, I had enough material to just put this together. And then everything that I write, it's like I always put it in a hypothetical type of situation. And I always say that any scenario can have 1 to 2 to 3 or 4 different ways that it could actually end. It's just the way that the person that's involved chooses to handle it. And that's, that's the way it goes.
Right. So what made this love story, or, well, the facets of the story, shoot. What made it unique?
Say that again.
What made the facets of this love story unique?
Because the unique part is that, and I'll just take one example I've been using is, let's take, for instance, the woman. Most of you speak of another woman is looking at her like she should be stoned and burned at the stake, and or whatever else. She's like a homewrecker, this, that, and the other. However, what makes it unique, each character in this book, I don't just like hang them out to dry. I go into a little bit of a detail on their background and how they actually got to the point in the place in their life, what caused them or gave them the ammunition to do what they did. Not saying that it's right, wrong, or indifferent, or whatever. This is their perspective and how they derived at the place in their life that they did.
Okay. What I like mostly about the book is that no one person is at fault. So why was that important for you to pinpoint that?
Yes, because, and this is where this did come from, maybe my upbringing, my life, is that there's always two sides to every story, and then you have the right side. I always say it's two sides to every story, and then you got the right side, because at some point, the way I view things may be this way, and this person view this thing, that way. Is my way right? Is their way right? So that's the reason and why I did that, is because I wanted to give the perspective of each person and how they look at things. And the way you look at things can be built up and based on how you're raised, your upbringing, your surroundings, your experiences, and that helps to make up how you probably think and come up with your conclusions about a certain thing or a situation or circumstance.
Right. Okay. Now, here's my next question. How long did it take you to do, because I know about people showing up at the UPS store and then just using your family and friends as subjects, but how long did it take you to do research just to put this book together?
Not very long, but I didn't do a whole lot of it. I would say, if I had to just put a time on it, maybe a month.
A month?
Maybe a month.
Okay. Now, why should avid readers sit down with this book? And do you think other races should read the book to have a better understanding of love in the Black community?
I think everybody should read the book, first of all, because, taking away, that the fact that it is about, Black love, whatever else, basically, everyone finds love or falls out of love or whatever else. So there is a relatable piece to any and everybody. I think that as far as the book is concerned, it just goes into just how each individual that's in a situation, you have responsibility and you have accountability in which way your scenario goes. Whatever choices that you make will, there's an effect and then there's the outcome. So everyone plays a part in it. So I think that any and everyone should read the book, and I think it is a very good learning. Get some wine and a candle, because you do get the erotica type parts in there, that makes it spicy. And then you get, some of the, you get a little bit of arguing, you get a little bit of humor in there. So it kind of touches on every genre of literature. But I think that overall, everyone can identify somewhere in this book something that possibly could have happened to them.
Right. I seen some things.
I want to ask you which ones.
What's your favorite chapter and why?
Oh, that's my favorite chapter. Cool. Okay, so let me think about it. I'm like a fan of the whole book, but anyways, my favorite chapter, I gotta say, is chapter chapter 4 and chapter 2 and chapter 6.
Chapter 6. Oh Lord, it's 2 of them. Okay, so why those stand out?
Because they're spicy.
Okay.
2, 6, and 8. 6 talks about the other guy, telling his perspective and stuff like that. 8 talks about the other woman and her perspective. And I guess I like those chapters because it gives them the opportunity to speak for themselves and kind of defend themselves, as opposed to everybody just throwing them up under the bus and just rolling over them, Like I said, good, better, and different, however you look at a situation, because typically they are like, let's stone them. But I like the fact that I, told their perspective. So I do like those chapters. Actually, I like all the characters chapters, but if the spicy one, 2, 6, and 8.
2, 6, and 8, y'all. Get into it. So, and then what is a chapter that stood out to you that may provide a blessing or a lesson for someone reading the passage?
A blessing or a lesson? That would be a blessing or a lesson. Chapter 9, because in chapter 9, I want to say that the husband's eyes kind of comes open to the fact that, you know, maybe I have been ignoring her and stuff like that. And, you know, he's seen her for the woman that he once first saw her, you know, and it's like a stab in the heart, because he's feeling like, you know, she's not there like she was, you know, and he's kind of like, you know, like turning away from his like thing with the other woman, and he's like focusing on his wife at this point, you know, what's going on, you know. So I kind of like that one.
I like that you gave sensitivity to even the other woman. You know, because a lot of times women blame the other woman when both of them are at fault. So I like that you gave sensitivity to that as well. So why was that important for you?
It was important for me because, once again, you know, we jump up and down about the other woman, but the way that I went at it is that, okay, so there is the other woman, but how did there get to be another woman? Were you, and I use the terms, were you watering? You got to treat your man like a plant. A plant needs watering, you know, depending on what type of plant it is. It may need watering every day, or it may need watering every other day, or not so often. But at some point, that plant got to see some water. I said, is your man whatever kind of plant he is, or is it a cactus? You know, whatever. But you got to, you know, do the things that you know that you need to do to hold his interest. Did you leave him unattended? Were you like off at the mall? I talk a lot about the mall, you know, and it's like just kind of hypothetical speaking, but people, you can relate to what, you know, you off somewhere at the mall while somebody else is babysitting your man, you know. And I felt it was necessary to say that, you know, sometimes, you know, people can be pushed, and I show that on both sides. You know, he did what he did to push her. She did what she did to push him. Don't just look at it one way. The poor woman, you know, got ran over, you know, where you like, did you start off with him cooking, cleaning, and making 7-course meals, and then all of a sudden you don't do anything? You know, he coming home to a dirty, you know. So everybody, like, went back to my point, everybody plays a part in it.
Right. Okay. Y'all better cook now. So, are you self-published?
Yes, I am. I am self-published.
What lessons do you...
Hello? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, yay. What lessons did you learn during the self-publishing process?
What did I learn?
Mm-hmm.
I learned that the reason why I self-published was I had like publishing companies calling me, asking me, you know, I guess trying to put their bid in to publish my book. But it was the one company that I will not say their name. When they started like going through everything that they were going to do, I felt like they were going to really just rewrite my story, and it wasn't going to be, you know, if I said ain't or doesn't or does, you know, whatever, even if I said something that was in proper English in here, it's because I wanted to say it that way, because I was expressing it a certain way. Right. I didn't want what I was saying and my point that I was trying to get across to be changed. So that kind of turned me off. So it's like, you know what, I'm just going to self-publish this. I will get editors to edit my work and everything else, but I'm going to self-publish. And I gave my editor strict, I said, I'm asking you to, I actually had about 3 editors that were not like, was not in the business of editing, but they had a background where I felt that they would, you know, bring justice to my work. I had them do it first, and then I sent it to a editing company. But my specific words were, do not change the context of what I'm saying. Now, if there's a sentence that, you know, whatever that needs to be corrected or whatever, you know, as long as it's not changing what I said, I'm good with that. With all that being said, self-publishing was the way to go for me.
Right. I said what I said, and don't even change my words now.
Ebonics or whatever it is, I meant it to be that way.
Right, because it takes away the personality of the book when you make it technical. So I love that you got in terms of how people speak every day versus mother and father. That's not how people speak on TV.
No, that's not how they speak. You know, I'm like, I want it to be, you know, the way that I hear things, or the way that it was said. Now, when you get into, and I wanted it to remain and not to say that we don't speak appropriately. I think we do. I think some words and some things that we use is, you know, just our culture and the way that we do it. And I didn't want that changed.
Right. Your book has personality. So anything outside of that, you know, that's not realistic. So you kept it authentically you. I love it. So what are you doing? Tours? Like, what else are you doing with the book?
Right now I'm doing mostly interviews. There were we did a press, you know, we did a press release. I think it made it to like 194 kind of outlets and websites or whatever. And now I'm in the interviewing stage. And if I had my vision and it goes the way that it goes, I will be doing book signings, you know, and everything once everything is in place. It will be on ebook. We're doing the ebook. I want to do, I would love to tour. I would love to do some talk shows, like live talk shows, you know, get on there and talk, you know, go back and forth with Steve Harvey or something.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can see that happening. And that was my next question. Like, do you think that this book, would you ever turn it into a film?
I can't wait. I've had so many people, well, I shouldn't say so many people because, you know, a lot of people haven't read it as of yet. But I've had a few people that have seen it. And then if you go on my website, there's a 30-second like clip of a movie type thing that I wrote the script that they did. I wanted to help with the advertising of it. And I said I wanted to be in kind of like a movie form. If you go on the website, that's actually one of my girlfriends that have done like stage plays and stuff like that. And then the guy, he's tried to dibble and dabble in acting, and they did. It's a 30-second clip, and I would love to make this a movie. I think it would be great.
I think it would be too, like the answer to Think Like a Man.
Yes.
So will there be a new book after this?
Yes. I'm just trying to decide which am I going to like just take one of the characters and write out for them, or am I going to just continue this story? I'm just trying to decide, but I said that I would get started with it right away. I'm thinking that I'm going to start putting pen to paper at least by no later than April.
Okay, all right. And then as far as where can viewers cop this book, like Amazon, where is this book located? Is it in bookstores? Where is it?
It is, I have a website that you can purchase it from. It's www.thewomantales.com. And if you go on there, you'll get to see the movie clip. There is a download. I did a sneak peek also last year that it was 4 chapters, and it kind of gave an overview. You can download that if you want to read that first before, you know, you purchase it. But I said purchase a book because you're going to like it. I think you are. And then I am on Amazon. The ebook will be added to Amazon probably within the next week or two. And then you can purchase the ebook, and everything right now is a pre-sale, a pre-order. You can do all of it, either one, on my website, www.thewomantales.com.
Y'all gonna want to read those inscribes from 1 through 4, because I'm telling you, I'm like, what the world? The friend? Huh? And it happens that fast. So
yes, it does.
Where can our viewers follow you?
For IG at thewomantales.com, and for Facebook, thewomantales.com. They can follow me on both of those legs. I'm also on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, you would have to put in The Woman Tales by Karla Davis-Luster, because for some strange reason, there are other people out there doing something about the tales, and everybody out there telling, okay? So
telling lies.
Put my name in. Everybody out there telling on somebody, right?
It's only one you, though, so that's the blessing.
Yes.
And you have that PSA, and it's bomb.com. So I saw that too. I watched it. So thank you so much for your time. You've been an absolute joy. Y'all go read the book, and we're gonna pray that this lands on the movie screen. Like it
yes.
just deserves a place. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.